Walker?
So I just want to point out that the last controversial large-scale project that went on around here, the Naiku wind idea, that was run through the Haida Nation. It had to go to a national referendum. We gave OMVC their say on that issue. They shot it down. You're in a relationship with us whether you like it or not, Ken. So I guess question stemming from that is, do you know how to have a healthy relationship? You can't just go and do that. That's not a healthy relationship. The second point I'd like to make is I think the worst thing that can happen is that a few more salmon do come back. There's so many different factors that play into every year's salmon run. There's no way you could prove that your iron dump was the sole cause of that. The worst thing that could happen is that a few extra salmon do come back and you have every little village on the coast dumping stuff in the water. Like that's not nature. You guys are playing God. What makes you think that you, John Disney, and Russ George have the authority to do that and drag the rest of us through the mud while doing so? Do you guys realize that's what you've done? Cecil?
Done.
I'd also like to point out that you reference Haida culture, Haida beliefs, traditional Haida beliefs. But if you actually understand what our ancestors believed in, they believed in the one in the sea, basically God of the sea. I'm not saying I actually fully believe what they believed in, but I have to respect it. I think everyone here has to respect what our ancestors believed. And you guys just totally disregard that.
This is a community project, and everybody in OMVC very much respects the ocean as much as anybody here. We're not playing God. What's God got to do with science? This is science.
There's no way that you can get any tangible data from this project. You would have been out there for 10 or 15 years studying the ocean's conditions before you to do the proper research. You guys didn't do that.
We're comfortable with our baseline. The 14 previous sequestration projects, they have no baseline like we do. Nobody has as much data as we do doing this project.
Was the way you went about things healthy, in a healthy relationship, looking at it as a healthy relationship?
I was voted in by the community of OMVC. I represent them and I work for the community of OMVC. I take my marching orders from the community of OMVC. And that's been made very clear to me since this project has happened and I represent OMVC.
So that's how you guys have relationships?
I've been given the mandate to move this forward for my community since all the negative press came out. And as a government, we're not going to stop. We get a community mandate, I'm going to move that forward. We believed in what we did was the right thing. We stand by what we did. As a council, as a community. The negative effects that have been so much spun in the internet and in the world, none of it's been proved that we did that. We can prove. We're the only ones who have the data, the information, the knowledge. Because we very methodically.
You guys could have avoided all this by putting Russ George out there when the shit hit the fan. Instead, you held a press conference. It was basically a Russ George promotional video, and you dragged the rest of us through the mud can. That's what happened.
I'm not going to deny there was mistakes made in that first week. I'm not savvy in the world of media. And if I was to do that week over again, I would have, believe me. However, we've made mistakes. We've moved on. We haven't said anything. We haven't said anything to the media.
You can't just move on without consulting us.
Like I say, I take my marching orders from the community of OMVC. Jason?
Alright, so I'm going to kind of pick up where we left off. I want to say hello to Gary for recognizing our letter and how much my team signers of the letter from the Saints and the drafters of that letter, I think what we asked for was reasonable, and what Walker's bringing up about this relationship we have with us in our communities is valid. It needs to be addressed, and I think that's the issue that we need to focus on here as a group, is that we asked as a team, as the Saints representing our community of Skidegate, we didn't say we weren't going to go, people weren't going to go play. We said we wouldn't send our community representatives because we felt disrespected for not being consulted. So we asked politely for an apology and to confirm that you're going to stop the project. And I think it's a very fair thing to ask, right? He said we're in a relationship together. He said you guys are members of the Haida Nation, which means we have to work together, as people have done for many years to get where we are. So I think that's what we're asking for, to start rebuilding our relationship. And it's not fair for some of us to be vilified and shed in a negative light for bringing up the tough questions and creating a dialogue about what needs to be talked about. I think you put us all in an uncomfortable situation, and that's what we're asking for. An apology for sidestepping the CHN processes and all the work that's been done, for sidestepping our communities, our chiefs, all of our people who are all affected by this. We apologize for not sharing information, in some ways misleading the public. And many times if you read the literature and the stuff that's out there, you know, you tell one story all about the salmon and bringing back the salmon to one group. It's not clear how you're actually going to benefit as a community from that. The salmon will end up back in the Fraser River. But on the other end, it's an economic project. You're trying to make money from carbon credits. So being very clear, I think, is very important in a healthy relationship and moving things forward, being honest and clear. And I don't feel that happens in this case. There was no public consultations here. There was no information to the CHN fisheries, to any of the CHN, to the Skidegate Band Council, to our community, and possibly even to your own community. From what I understand, it wasn't very clear the way the process went. It's healthy for us to have discussions and debates and to move on and to do things together, and I think that's what we're asking for an apology for. The science, from what I understand, there is, you know, different opinions and different ideas and different sides of that, but this is about us moving as a nation and apologizing for everybody for risking the world's oceans. I don't think it's not Old Mass, it's ocean. Whether you feel that's your mandate or not, it's not. So I think there's an apology to us here. That was our point in our letter. When we go out around the world, we go travel, we all go places as Haida people, we have to speak, we have to answer questions, and we don't want to speak negatively, or we want to have the facts, we want to be able to say we're part of it, or we're involved, or that we can represent the Haida Nation and not go out and slander each other and talk bad about each other. And that's what this has created. So it's not even just about how you handled the 1 week, the PR. That was a pretty, I don't think that was a very good thing. I would hire a better PR. This isn't a PR game we're playing. This is our oceans. This is our communities. This is our relationships. This is Haida Gwaii, Haida Nation. There's a lot of things here. It's not just a game of information and PowerPoints and, you know, kind of glazing over issues. This is an important thing that happened and has been kind of swept under the rug, and this is the start, I think, of creating a dialogue and moving forward together. I don't think it's fair to us to just move forward and without us doing this together. And I think it was fair for us to ask to stop this and tell everybody on the same page, and it goes through the proper processes. You think that all this natural resource-based economic development should go to the Council of the Haida Nation, where they have fisheries departments, we have environmental experts, we have our own people doing the work, and then we can ensure that it's done for the best of the entire nation. The Naiku vote is the perfect example, right? It did show a difference in opinion between North and South, but we moved on. We respect people's opinions. They had a chance to vote, and that's very fair, I think, for us to ask for an apology and for you to halt the project. And really, I think what I'd like to, my question, I guess, would be, doesn't sound like you're going to apologize or stop right now, but I think that would be a good start for us moving forward. But I think really what's important then is how far do you believe you're authority goes as chief counselor of the Old Massett Village Council. And legally, your jurisdiction is the reserve, right? That's what you're elected for. So how far do you really believe your authority goes in that position? And yeah, I think we all deserve an apology, and I think we need to move forward together. And that's I'm glad you agreed to have the meeting, and that's, I think, what we want to get out of this meeting. And one of the big points is this is the relationship, and we need to move forward together.
When the basketball team made their request or demand, when the CHN quickly put out a press release without talking to the Old Massett Village Council, and I know under that press release, half those Massett Chiefs didn't sign that. As Chief Councillor of Old Massett, I guess our village council, we believe that our authority stretches to the people of Old Massett. It's not just a council up here, this is a community. We can have, maybe at the next CHN, we should have a further dialogue on the relationship of Old Massett and Skidegate. I wasn't prepared to do that tonight. Sounds like more of a CHN meeting kind of thing. I can't.
Can you elaborate on what that means? Your authority, geographically, obviously, you think you want to be in international waters.
What is the CHN? It's a relationship between two band councils and chiefs and two communities. Of all the Haida people. The CHN doesn't mandate my work. The community of Old Massett does. If I apologized to the basketball team, I wouldn't be chief right now. That I know.
So you don't think anything wrong in the process?
Well, I'm not an expert on communications or relationships. And I have never publicly responded to the CHN press release against Old Massett for a reason, to maintain that relationship. If I publicly responded, if our community or our government responded to that press release, this might be a whole new conversation. We never responded. We never responded to the basketball team either. It's been flared, obviously, a lot of tension between the two communities on a number of issues. It's not just this.